Right now, I'm on a mission and I've got something that I want to achieve, and only I can make it happen.
This guy is a fighter at his core.
If it hadn't been for boxing, Anthony Joshua would be in prison now.
Boxing's not a normal sport. You're going into war, you're going into battle, so you need to make sure that you're going to come out a winner.
When he hits you, you stay hit. Anthony's one of those fighters that when he fights, when he hits someone, you hear the crowd gasp.
I never thought he'd come this far. Can't wait to see how far he ends up going.
I remember the first time I saw Anthony, I was up at the gym in Sheffield where the Great British team trained, and I heard this noise. It was the sound of someone hitting the bag, but it sounded like someone was hitting the bag with a baseball bat. And I looked over and it was Anthony Joshua. As a physical specimen, he's an Adonis, a heavyweight, but defined like a Greek god, if you like. And I just was watching him. I couldn't stop watching him hit this bag.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to swing a right hand round like that. You pick out your defence out the four of them. Yeah? Good.
Everyone talks about future heavyweight champion of the world, and one thing you have to remember is that you set small goals, short-term, mid-term and long-term, and I'm still at my short-term goal, which is to become a British champion. So the support's good, the potential's good, but I keep my feet on the ground and I've still got a long way to go.
Is that too fast for you then?
Nah.
I'm going to be faster now.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Halfway up. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? You sure?
I've got to be.
Any athlete in sport, you know, they've got to have something a little bit special about them. Anthony's definitely got that special thing about him.
He kind of got interested in boxing much later on. I think he was probably when he was about 18 or so, but prior to that he had always been into like football and athletics and all sorts, gymnastics and all of those things, but nothing, no, boxing happened later on.
I grew up in North Watford, a place called Meriden Estate, where I had all my cousins and aunties and uncles live like within 2-minute walking distance of each other. So growing up, I always had family around me and friends as well.
As a baby, he was a very chubby little boy, a very good baby actually.
Always been big, so always been easy to spot out when I'm getting up to mischief. Couldn't get away with anything.
He was actually quite a gentleman in PE. Loved the subject, really interested in it. But it's probably fair to say that he was not so great in some of the other areas. But every time he came down to the PE department, he was absolutely outstanding, and we had no problems at all.
He was a very competitive young person.
Even if we run into the shop, he would want to beat me there. Let's say there was, I don't know, if we're playing a video game, we'd have to pay a couple of times so he can win. Remember there was one time we played the basketball game for about nearly an hour because he just couldn't beat me. So I just, on the last game I let him win, so to give him some satisfaction.
I boxed firstly when I was about 14. I went to a boxing gym just so I wanted to get strong. And then I thought, I went once and I said, this is definitely not for me.
He didn't leave school with the best of circumstances.
Leaving school, I had a lot of free time on my hand. This time it wasn't my teachers telling me off, it was a policeman telling me off.
I think many people probably thought that he would probably go down rather than up. I
got banned from where I grew up for a year. So when I moved up to London to get away from where I grew up, it was either I want to get strong and mean, so if I do get sentenced, I won't be a pushover. And if I don't get sentenced, when I go back to Watford, I want to become more of a dominant force. And this is just a alpha male thing. Bought my little kit from Argos. I had a bench press in the living room. my cousin came round and saw me with all these weights and kind of laughing at what I was doing.
Number one, he was doing the weights were too light. And he's just doing all the wrong exercise, so I thought, let me just show him a couple of things, and then from them, he's being like a sponge, he just soaks everything up.
Bought myself some boxing boots. He lent me my shorts and vest. Shorts that I still train in today, he lent me them.
You still got them? Needs to throw them away, yeah. Actually, I want them back. They're my favourite shorts.
He come into the gym, big tall fella, big smiley face, always like laughing and joking, happy. He was a pain in the backside, really, because he was one of them that was always asking questions. But it's only because he wanted to learn. It wasn't a bad thing, it was a good thing, really.
There was good company in the gym. From day one, it was about being champion, really, like understanding the ABAs, what it means to win that. And I remember when I first started boxing, so I've come to the gym now, I'm with Sean on the pads, and I've gone home and I'm watching KOTV boxing. I was like, Ben, is that Sean? And he's on TV, and the respect that you get from someone that's teaching you, they've been there on a world level, and everything they're telling you is because they've been there and they've done it. So like my respect for Sean was sky high already because he's lived what he's telling me.
When we first started training, he obviously couldn't handle the training that well.
There was times that I would throw up at the gym, throw up on the way home, I'll get back home, I'll still be being sick because that much work that they put me through. Boxing challenged me and I liked it.
When I took him on the pads, I knew there was something about him. He had something there. I should be really suing him. He broke my hand on the pads.
I can't believe I broke his hand. That's the thing. It's like, even till now I've got to improve my punching. So if I weren't even punching correct back then and I could break his hand, imagine what I could do now.
And also, I forgot to say, one time when I was training him, we were doing pads. Right? Look at the size of him, so he's quite high. So you think,
oh yeah,
if he stand up,
he
just stand up for him, just stand up, right? So there's Josh there. So for me, when I'm judging, I'm doing pads with him, and I'm looking where his body is. So that's his body there.
I remember that.
So I put the pad here.
And I've accidentally gone bang.
That's where his body is. And I've gone 1, 2, left hook under. Boom. But he's not hit the pad, he's hit my body. So and it's like, he's hit me, I stayed on my feet, but all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. And then I look at him and he's loading up to go more, so I've had to go down. I've had to take one knee. And there's like, all the lads in the gym are like looking and they're like,
but you know where he's proud, yeah, where you're a fighter. Sean got up before the count of 10, got his breath back.
I had to get up and go,
yeah.
I've had him and his cousin Ben's done me on the chin before. He's hit me a proper right hand on the chin. And what happens is when you're in the flow, you just get on with it. It's like, he's like shocked. He's hit me on the chin, Ben. I'm carry on. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But then I proper beat him up on the pads. I kill him. I say they ain't getting over it. They ain't getting away with it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's helped me. What we done when I first started, the foundations helped me now. About 5 months in, my coach said I was ready to fight. No one in the gym thought I was ready, and that was it.
He boxed in Tufnell Park, the Boston Dome, where he stopped his opponent with his, I think it was his left jab, he dropped him. It was about 40 seconds. It's really funny, because all I can remember is Josh's dad is quite tall as well. And I was just seeing him going up and down the hall, sprinting up and down the hall, like where he was really excited and happy that Josh had won his first fight.
I remember he used to come home and say, oh, I'm being, put in these competitions, and he'll come home and say, oh, I won. I'll be like, oh, wow, you won? And that was how it all kind of started, really.
Finchley ABC Male Boxer of the Year. So this is actually the first year I started boxing, 2009/2010. And I was honoured with the Male Best Boxer of the Year. So yeah, it means a lot to me, man. And that's why I've kept it as well, because it was my first belt. Even though it doesn't have any meaning in the boxing forum or the boxing world, to me, it's something I can always remember in that presentation. Like.
In amateur boxing circles, people started talking about this big kid who was fighting out at Finchley Amateur Boxing Club. At around 2009, he went and he won the Haringey Box Cup.
He had 3 fights over like 3 days, which is another, it's like character building and good for experience.
Anthony Joshua began to get on people's radar within the amateur boxing scene, and the impact that he was making was quite a big one. When Anthony first entered the ABAs in 2010, there was a lot of talk of him doing very well, but it was all about potential. Sometimes the magnitude of the occasion may get to a boxer who isn't that experienced.
I first saw him in those ABAs in 2010, sort of looming out of the corner, this sort of massive super heavyweight.
Anthony progressed through the rounds in really impressive fashion, and then his first final was actually here at the York Hall in 2010, and he fought a Commonwealth Games representative from the Isle of Man by the name of Dominic Winrow. Winrow had far more experience, had competed internationally as a senior, but the way he performed that night, you wouldn't know that Anthony was a less experienced boxer.
Anthony Joshua in red and Dominic Winrow in blue from the Isle of Man. And already an explosive start from Joshua. Joshua, a 6'6" powerhouse. Winrow, a bit like Charlie Duffield before, is another who gave up boxing for the best part of 5 years to study. He's a very intelligent man, has a degree and a master's in sports psychology. And he's going to need all his mental strength here, because physically he looks as though he's been outgunned by Anthony Joshua.
He imposed himself from the outset of the contest and produced a dominant display, and was duly crowned ABA champion in his first appearance in the tournament. It perhaps is far more difficult to retain and defend a title, because everybody does know who you are, and you become the athlete, you become the boxer with a target on your back.
Anthony Joshua will be doubly keen to retain his title, and Faiz Abbas, I fancy, might have to be on his guard here.
Exciting talent, very explosive.
Last contest of the evening, last 3 rounds, last champion of the night to be crowned. Don't think there's going to be too much left in the locker now. Yeah, I think Joshua's maybe got the bigger bombs here.
My favourite memory of working with Josh up to this point has got to be the year he won his second ABAs. For me, because his cousin Ben, he was in the ABA finals as well, and we had the heavyweight and super heavyweight champion of Britain, and that night was really good.
When you consider that he had only just taken up this sport, to climb the heights of being a national champion, perhaps the most prestigious amateur title there is in the region, to be an ABA champion following those who came before. Really impressive display from Anthony Joshua, and the poise with which he went about his work was, again, something which really stood him out.
He's a better person now than what he was, say, 2 years ago. We had a few issues with him, and now we've come through them issues, and coming through them issues, he's a lot better and a lot nicer person than what he was.
A lot of stuff happened. I had to serve my time doing 100 hours of community service.
It was very difficult for us, for the family. I couldn't believe it.
And what hurt me the most, because I got banned from boxing, not only at an international level, but at a domestic level as well. And I had to man up to some of the mistakes I made. I think it made me realise that I've got a talent here, and I always had this feeling that if I keep on messing around, I'm never going to achieve anything in boxing. And I think that was a turning point for me, where I said, this is it, boxing or nothing.
It might be, as from a mother's perspective, I think he's kind of learned from that. It was a kind of wake-up call. Since then, he's never looked back.
What he's been through, what he's done, it's all made him the person he is today. And that is Anthony Joshua, professional boxer, Olympic champion, soon to be world champion, hopefully.
A lot of people doubted me, saw me as a bad person, A lot of people say boxing. If you want to do boxing for that, ain't gonna pay your bills. But look, the tables have turned.
You've had in your life to get where you are now.
Yeah.
There's been times when you've gone down this path, which and it's taught you now. It's made you the person that you are.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for that, you'd be a different person. And
True.
I said to when I was trying, I said, "You're a nasty piece of work." And if you weren't a nasty piece of work,
That's the thing,
you wouldn't be where you are now.
Yeah,
if you
I'll
weren't
smile with you and that. I'll have fun.
Yeah, but when it's time to
for
get
work.
serious,
Yeah, man.
that's
Yeah,
when you're getting
trust
serious,
me.
and you're going to be that nasty person.
Yeah.
Oh, so you ain't going to get up here. At the minute, we're there. We're there. So we've got this big hill to climb. He's still got a big hill to climb.
I went to the Europeans. This is when I got banned, just for the Europeans. So I got banned from all boxing. I had to sit in front of the board, but they agreed to let me box again. So I was back in the gym at my club for about 3 days. And then GB called me up and said, "Do you want to box in the championships, in the Europeans?" I was like, yeah, why not?
So we went out to the Europeans in Turkey in sort of mid 2011. Got to the quarterfinals, was stopped, which is really, which is really good going for a first senior international tournament.
Because it was just, I wasn't fit. I was just knackered because you box back to back.
Losing for Josh made him a stronger fighter, a lot stronger fighter.
Because I got stopped, I knew I had the Worlds coming up in about 6 months, so I went back to the gym just hungry as ever. Went to Azerbaijan with a new mindset, fit, 100% fit. And then I boxed my way right up until Olympic qualifications against Roberto Camarelli.
His victory over the defending Olympic champion and defending world champion Roberto Camarelli at the quarterfinal stage would probably go down as one of the most significant victories that a British amateur boxer has produced. And then it was on to the semi-finals. He fought a German by the name of Eric Pfeiffer, produced a first-round stoppage, a right hand, damaged Pfeiffer's nose, a bout was called off. So here he is, his first World Championships, his first global competition, and he is in the final. Who's coming out of the other corner? It's the fighter representing Azerbaijan, a hometown fighter, a teak-tough individual by the name of Magomedrazor Medjidov.
This guy gave me the toughest fight out of all my fights.
You went to war with him. He really, it was a great fight. He really proved that he could mix it at the top.
And he beat me by 1 point, unfortunately.
He should have come back with a gold medal. He got a bad decision against the Azerbaijani fighter in his own backyard. He should have been world champion.
And the first time I cried a bit. You know that I was weeping, like coach was there, so I didn't want to burst out. I was like, yeah, I'm good, but it hurt to lose. And I knew from then, a couple of weeks later, I knew I was going to win the Olympics.
There was a lot of pressure on him going into the Olympics because people knew the name, hadn't really seen him box, so just expected him to win.
Every single session of every single day for the London Olympics was sold out. The noise level was incredible.
I was too stiff, too rigid, and from there I learned just embrace these people.
And it weren't till after the first fight, I don't think, that he really relaxed and then he sort of come into the competition.
After having a close bout with the Cuban, his second one was against the Olympic silver medalist. Anthony beat him really well. The Kazakh was someone who's even taller than Anthony Joshua. No, that was an impressive win, a good one too.
I always went in there with the mentality, it's just another championship. Like, I took the ABA championship as serious as I did the Olympics.
It was the final bout, as it traditionally is, in the Olympic boxing tournament. Britain had done incredibly well. Luke Campbell had got a gold medal. Nicola Adams had got a gold medal. And Joshua had the opportunity to join him as an Olympic gold medalist and emulate the accomplishment of Lennox Lewis and Audley Harrison as super heavyweight champions born in London. And who's he meeting? Who's coming out of the other corner? It's the man he bested in the quarterfinal of the World Championships in the previous year.
It was electric. It was one of those things you're always going to remember.
I was there in person, but emotionally, I wasn't there.
And then the announcement was made, the winner and Olympic champion.
We went to Buckingham Palace and he was presented with the MBE by Prince Charles. It was an amazing day, an amazing event, really nice, very proud.
But I think what the Olympics will do for me is really give me satisfaction when I finish boxing. I'm an old man, and I look back on what I've done with my life and with boxing. I say, yeah, I went to the Olympics and I won. And I think that will be a great moment for me. But at the minute, I've got to put it behind me and move on to the next journey of my career. A lot of people doubted me, saw me as a bad person, and when I started boxing and winning, I could see a lot of people changing. I don't see some of my friends as much. This is a sacrifice that I've got to deal with and that I'm willing to take. Right now, I'm on a mission and I've got something that I want to achieve, and only I can make it happen. I boxed in the Olympics in London. So, 2012. So I won that one, and then I turned professional now. So now I just filming some documentaries about my professional career.
We watched him on the bike. Do you remember he cycled on the bike? You did that cycle thing.
Is it Superstars?
Yes, yeah.
That was good. Yeah. God bless. Take care.
Well, you're a star.
No, I'm not a star.
Of course you are, mate.
Now I've got to work my way to the top.
Mate, you're at the top.
I'm a professional now, and then
enjoy
it started again now, so just got to give it my best.
No, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud
wish
of
you
you.
all the
I mean
best.
that, mate. Seriously, I'm
Good
very
to see you.
proud
I
of you, mate.
won't forget now.
Seriously.
Good luck on your fight.
Thank you, yeah? Appreciate it.
It's a journey, and he's had the roughs, and now, you know, things are kind of going steadily. Yes, he's had that shake that he needed, and he's now focused. And I hope that his story as well would inspire other young people as well.
I joined this school in year 7. Great school, obviously a lot of great people as well. My favourite obviously was PE, honestly. That was my favourite time. That was pretty cool. Like the cross countries, rounders, working with Mr. Annette. I enjoyed that. I tried to learn the saxophone.
Yeah?
You know what? It was stupid. I was too embarrassed to carry the sax home. You remember Deji?
Oh,
I used to pay him £1 to hold my sax. Yeah, because I had to walk through Meriden Estate.
Walking through the Meriden.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to ruin my street cred.
How did the low points after school make you stronger as a person?
I'll be honest, I got in a bit of trouble with the police. Sat down to myself when I was your age, sat down, looked at my life, and I said, you know, I really want to make a change for the better and turn the negatives into a positive.
How did you find the whole Olympic experience?
It was just life-changing to actually go there. I was in tough fights all the way through, but I gave it my best. That's one thing. What I say about boxing or anything I do is that it doesn't really matter the outcome, you know, and as long as you give it your best.
I always thought when you were going to leave here, you would have become a top-class athlete or a top-class footballer. And when suddenly you were a boxer, in one respect I was surprised, because we hadn't done boxing at school, but then in many ways I wasn't surprised because it's an individual activity. It requires a lot of dedication and focus. As an individual at school, you were like that. You were like that.
This for me means more than the Olympics. So the World Championships is a qualifier for the Olympics. So if you don't do well, get a bronze medal in the World Championships, your dreams of going to the Olympics are out the window. This is the one in Russia 2011, which then led me onto getting a gold medal at the Olympics in 2012. That's the gold medal there. And then I brought one more. I was honoured by the British Empire of MBE, and that's the medal there.
We're extremely proud of you as an individual. We're extremely proud, and to have you back here is a real honour. And those students who sat there, they were just, you know, awestruck over what you were saying.
We've all gone through the same process, nursery, primary, secondary. So I've been here exactly like them, sitting through classes, working with you and just giving it your best, really, and you just never know when your time will come. It's like a privilege that I can come here and share my experience with you guys. All of you can go out and achieve something and come back here to this school in years to come and share your experiences with the students that are coming after you.
Feel small.
If he runs off with me, I'll have to show him how fast I am. Hopefully I can come back in a year or two with a couple belts to show you guys.
Clearly someone who's super heavyweight, an Olympic gold medalist, who's got the personality to, to be a star, there are a lot of options for him.
Delighted to announce that we finally got our man. Anthony Joshua has turned professional and signed a long-term deal with Matchroom Boxing.
So turning professional, that still took me a year to make that final decision.
He literally spoke to everybody and really took his time, which is the right thing to do, to assess all the opportunities for him, and thankfully he chose us.
Anthony Joshua's entrance into the professional ranks really injected a spike of excitement among general sports fans and boxing fans in particular.
This is just the beginning. It's going to be a very, very tough road, but I'm so determined and I know what I've got to do to make my dreams come true.
We're very lucky to have Anthony Joshua as part of the Matchroom team because, one, he's a great fighter, two, his profile is on another level, and three, I believe he's going to go on and become heavyweight champion of the world.
He's got all the credentials to be, a top fighter. We've seen other Olympic medalist heavyweights, turn professional, and they haven't shone like Anthony shining. He's obviously showing that he is a great prospect coming through.
Matching someone on your first pro fight is always very, very difficult. We looked around and we struggled because no one wanted to fight him. Everyone knew about his ability and, it was difficult. And then this opportunity came out to fight Emanuele Leo, who was 8 fights, 8 wins.
When I first heard the name and that he'd had 8 fights and won 8 fights, I was a bit worried because it ain't the normal thing to put your debutant in with an unbeaten prospect.
From when we accepted him to the moment he stepped in the ring, my heart was in my mouth because I was thinking, this isn't really normal to take an 8-0 opponent for your first fight.
Well, here he is at last, 14 months on from Olympic gold at super heavyweight. Here he is, the great new hope of British boxing.
I am the referee. Obey my command at all times. You both know the rules. Watch the heads, keep the punches up. And when I shout break, you break clean. Shake hands.
Well, this is where the journey begins, isn't it? Do we have another Lennox Lewis on our hands? Do we have another Audley Harrison on our hands? Or do we have something in between? Oh, and he's got him. Big solid right hand there has shaken the Italian. Oh, what is keeping Leo up? He is getting tattooed here, and he has to go, and it's over. That's what the boss is about. He's destroyed a very brave opponent, and he hasn't broken a sweat.
Your winner on his professional debut, Anthony Joshua.
Every time I step into the ring is as important as an Olympic final. I've got to take my career serious. But winning the Olympics was a priceless experience as well, and this is my pro debut. There's only one pro debut, and we ended it in spectacular fashion.
A lot of people know that he's not going to be tested too deep in his first fight, but the opponent was certainly very credible, and I think the way that he dispatched him with such ease, his power was there to see. Leo was badly hurt as well with a knockout, so, it was the perfect start. Paul Butlin, much more experienced fighter, very, very tough. Been in with some top heavyweights from around the world.
From the first fight, I thought I could probably take him on. I had 10 weeks to train fit. I felt strong, felt fit. Everything was in place, I had no worries.
Well, I think there's a little bit of needle between them in the build-up to it, which is sort of good for a journalist to see.
The weigh-ins normally for title fights and big shows you have the day before. I tried to get eye to eye with him, but I couldn't go too small. So I was looking up at him. I just gave him a cheeky smile, so I had to separate as I thought, I'm not moving first, which didn't happen. So I just carried on staring him, see if I could get in his head a little bit.
Every opponent's different, and that's why I've been matched different opponents, different styles, and styles make fights. I know what I've got to do to win, and I'm just going to put it out the bag in there.
He got into the ring. It's when your adrenaline starts pumping. It pumps even more when the ref moves out of the way.
Round one. A good right hand from Joshua.
Yeah, rocked him there, rocked him early.
I was quite surprised by the speed of that right hand from Joshua. That was terrific.
Joshua knows he's got his number. There is that bell. He survived the first 3 minutes, Paul Butlin. Oh, nailed him. That right hand. Now is Butlin going to get up? He doesn't know where he is, Butlin, and I think Howard Foster's waving that off. There's a bad cut over the eye as well. Now is he going to let him carry on? Well, he is. Body shots coming in, he's all over the place here, and that's it. The towel comes in. Howard Foster says that's enough. And a smile at the end from Paul Butlin, who says, yeah, I've been in with something special there.
It's boxing, 1-2, body shots, head shots. You know, boxing ain't complicated. You got two arms and you got to find a route to knock them out, and that's what I've done with a left hook and right.
I remember speaking to Paul Butlin after the fight, and he said, despite the heavyweights I've been in with, I've never been hit by anyone as hard as Anthony Joshua.
I knew from that first round how strong he was. Every shot was hard. A lot of heavyweights would probably touch you up with a jab, and then they'll put a hard shot in. But every shot was hurting me.
There ain't a lot of fighters that have done that to Paul Butlin like that. And that shows you the other special side of Anthony, how he could develop into a great fighter.
So I thought the Croatian was a good gauge. Had no fear for him. Larry Holmes was ringside as well, so obviously I wanted to go out there and use my jab. But I had that fight, I just went in there to have fun.
Now it's the turn of Hrvoje Kiščák from Croatia, whose main credentials seem to be that he went the full 6 rounds with Hughie Fury in Leicester a few weeks ago, and he's rocked him already.
That was clever. No, that's lovely, lovely body shot. So he's boxing nicely, just putting on a bit of a show at the moment.
Oof. Nice dug-in body shot there, and following upstairs as well, and already it's looking like it could be the end very soon.
Terrific.
He's done well to stand up to this, Kiščák. Oh, well, I'll give him his due, Jim. He's bringing what he's got.
Yes. Round 2.
Oh, went in with a right-hand counter. He took it well.
I think he's just enjoying himself a little while here.
A really sharp, hurtful combination. He's up at 4. The legs look okay. So Marcus McDonald looks like he's going to give him another chance. Just lunges in. You've got to credit his bravery, but he's getting pounding in there, and that's that. No, it's been stopped. All over. Kiščák wanted to go on. But all the damage was done by that brutal combination that put the Croatian on the floor. 3 in quick succession for Anthony Joshua.
Still undefeated from Watford, England, AJ Anthony Joshua!
Were you impressed with what you saw here, Larry?
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed when I heard about it, that he got a jab and he was tall, and that's what I like, because I'd have never lost if I had your height. I just needed a couple more inches, but I did well, but my jab kept me out of trouble, because I doubled up my jab, and when I threw my jab, I was here. And I'm just going to show you something real quick. For an old man, I'm still fast because it's coming from here. They don't see it, but I got here, and when the punch comes, I can move back here. And those are the things that you need to work on.
Yeah. His performances were getting better and better, and Anthony's one of those fighters that when he fights and when he hits someone, you hear the crowd gasp, in awe of the shots and the power. And when he hits you, you stay hit.
If I wasn't at home with Mum, you might as well put 24/7, welcome to the club at my front door, because my doors will always be open to all my mates and girls and parties. But being here, I know there's limits, there's boundaries, and I have to respect my mum. So it keeps me really grounded.
I just have to make sure that I support his training, his diet, and sometimes I say to him, sometimes I think you need to have a day off or rest and all that.
We've gone through a lot of stages where I'm saying, Mum, I need your support because it's so tough, and she really does help, really does help me.
This is an opportunity that he knows he's got to make the most of, and I still make sure he does housework as well. He's not getting away with that.
So she supports me with whatever I do, so it's really, really good relationship we have.
He trains really hard, trains so hard, overly hard.
If he prepares right for any fight, it's going to take a superhuman being to beat him, because he's that good.
You heard?
Stop! His head's swelling up. Get it down.
heavyweight division is, although picking up now, has become stagnant in the past. Two great heavyweights in the Klitschko brothers have virtually had total dominance of the division. And I think the timing of Anthony Joshua is so perfect that he's going to be reaching his peak just at the time as probably when they're on the demise. So I see him unifying the division in years to come. And you know, it is a 2 or 3 year plan that we've got for him before he reaches that stage. Florian Darch was a real interesting fight for Anthony because, you know, he was a very credible opponent, a tough guy.
I got booed coming out because he had a lot of support, obviously.
People genuinely wanted Darch to win that fight.
It was as such as Anthony's first little real test.
I wanted to catch him with a right hand, but I was over eager at the time, and I learned a lot from that fight. Dorian Darch is a good fighter. He's been in with great contenders, British contenders as well, and this is a good step up for me in my 4th professional fight, and I'm going to give it my best and hopefully show some improvements from my last bout.
Seconds out.
Let's see what Dorian Darch will do here. Give it a go. Try and land one of those right hands. Joshua too fast for him there, and then landing a right hand of his own. Darch felt that one. Taking his time here with Darch. Darch doing a nice job of slipping and getting a decent right hand of his own in. Good bit of work there by the Welshman. Joshua just looking to try and get that jab established, so that's a bit more like it. Ooh, Darch walked onto a right hand and then got shaken up by the follow-up right hand. One big mistake and he was in. Joshua, and he could finish it here. Darch looking to try and fight his way out of trouble, but Joshua zeroing in. Darch survives. There's almost sort of embraces Joshua as if to say, thank you for letting me off the hook.
Seconds out. Round 2.
And staggered again. This time by a straight left, then caught by another left.
Oh,
wicked
terrific
right
hand. Again, Darch did well to take that.
Darch is struggling. He's in trouble. And there is an argument to say that's enough, and it is. Because Darch wasn't going to go easy. But he was hurting, and he was hurting badly. And another clinical, brutal performance from Anthony Joshua. 4-0, all by stoppage. Anthony Joshua rolls on.
Your winner from London, AJ Anthony Joshua!
Probably wasn't his sharpest performance for the first part of the round, but then again, once he got into his rhythm, started to pop the jab and let his shots go, it was game over.
What he was doing, he was throwing right hands, trying to take him out with a one shot, but he was falling short and he got caught a couple of times with the counter shots.
I performed at a level that I thought was well below where I should be. So moving on from that victory, I had another fight scheduled and I wanted to make sure I got it right.
When he boxed in Glasgow, it was one of the most amazing receptions I've ever heard. I mean, he came out to the Proclaimers. I would walk 500 miles and he couldn't believe it. I mean, I was looking at his face and he was sort of looking around thinking, you know, do they know it's me and not Ricky Burns? That's what it felt like.
The reception I got in Scotland, I can't wait to go back there. It was unbelievable.
You know, he was up against a tough opponent who had been 9 rounds with Derek Chisora only a few months previously.
This guy has got a Glasgow crowd eating out of the palm of his hand. They love him already.
OK, gents, you know the rules. Obey my commands at all time. Defend yourselves at all time. Touch gloves. Seconds out, round 1.
And he's facing a man here who's won more than he's lost, with a fair bit of experience behind him, so this is not the worst match.
And I think he's already felt the power of that Joshua right hand. So Joshua just taking his time, measuring him up, moving well tonight.
God, he's a lovely punches.
There we go again. That's rocked him. He's in trouble here already in the first round, the Argentinian. And Joshua senses it and goes to work, picking some wicked body shots, and eventually Avila has to just hang on. And he looked at his corner there as if to say, what have you done to me? And he's gone. And I don't think he wants any part of this. He's holding his ear as if the ear's gone, but now, no. He's moved it away and he's not getting up. He had no interest. He's looking at the referee as if to say, why have you stopped it? Well, he was stopped because he was in all sorts of trouble with the count at 9. Anthony Joshua, here's the cries of easy, easy, and they are loving him here. Utterly ruthless from Anthony Joshua.
I've had many receptions before in boxing, but I've never had anything like this in Glasgow, and I think... yeah. I've never had anything like this in Glasgow, and I think that spared me on, you know what I mean, to get my stuff right, because I wanted to put on a performance. These are showing me lots of love coming out here, so I wanted to give it back by putting on a performance like that.
Avila went down like, you know, he'd been attacked by a gang of wolves. I mean, he was holding his head and he was spinning and his legs were all over the place, and it was over, you know, and that was really the first big step up for Anthony. Avila was there for experience for Anthony. He was there to give Anthony Joshua rounds. So when he knocked him out in the first round, you know, it made us realise it's going to be difficult to match Anthony now, because, you know, that was quite a big step up, and it was exactly the same result.
Carl Froch and George Groves had their first match in Manchester, and now they're having their rematch. I'm honoured to be on the undercard, and that's going to be a great experience and something that's going to prepare me for a tough fight, hopefully one day when I'm headlining.
Big man. Okay, bro.
See you in a bit. Take care. Yeah. Cheers, mate. In about 6 hours, 7 hours, this is all going to be done and dusted, isn't it? Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
All this build up.
Saying G, you alright?
Bit stressed.
Serious? Busy.
Busy, mate. You lot look good.
Well, the man who is opening up the show has just arrived here at Wembley Stadium. It's Anthony Joshua. AJ, how are you feeling?
Feeling great. Had a good sleep, good rest. What are you saying? You all good, yeah?
Yeah, man.
How's it been? Are you doing a bit today as well?
Yeah. So when the doors open up.
Do you need some towels for the corner?
Do you want one of them out?
Nah, it's up. I just bring them in case you need some towels or anything. Is this where I'm going to be coming through?
I don't know you'll be coming through. It's coming through. It is, the film. We didn't know where the film. This is really coming through. You go on and on, you feel this one day.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I bet you can. We've all got hopes for you anyway.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You've already done your game, right?
You've already done your geezer.
Continues then for Anthony Joshua, but he's up against an opponent who says, well, I've got nothing to lose, I'm going to give it a real go here, and I'm going to be more aggressive than any opponent that Anthony has faced so far. Matt Legg, I think, knows he's got one shot here, and he's just trying to land something early and quickly and spring a surprise. Well, he's certainly coming out as we expected. It's a daunting prospect for him, though.
Just missed the whisker there with a left hook. Which was maybe told us something. There's another one. He's giving it a go, and that's all we can ask of him.
Well, he knows he's not outboxing him for 6 rounds. He knows that for a fact, and he is unloading bombs here, Matt Legg. And if one of them does detonate, who knows?
So Matt Legg, to his credit, is making them work. Nice upper body movement as he comes forward. You know, he's giving this a bit of thought. He's giving this a go. He's glad to be here.
Getting the high guard up there as Joshua dives. Oh, that right hand uppercut. Bang! Doesn't matter how much of a go you have. If you get tagged like that, you're in desperate trouble. And he's done. One big right hand. Good night.
I knew he was going to come out swinging. I see straight away it was a small ring. I knew he couldn't outwork me on the straight shot. So I thought, let me just tuck up and enjoy it. Take a few, give a few. But I knew that he could only do that for 3 rounds maximum, so I just knew that if I didn't get tagged too many times, I'll eventually break him down. It's a 6-round fight, so I've got enough time to work on a few things. Job done.
Right now, there's a great buzz about the heavyweight division. Me being a prospect as well, it's like, you know, let's get behind this guy.
I think the next 12 months is about picking up domestic and European titles, you know, bludgeoning through the domestic division. You know, there's some big fights out there for him, Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, David Price. And I think in 12 months' time he'll be ready for those fights, and they're going to be massive when they're made.
There are a lot of things that we still don't know. We don't know what he's going to be like when he goes beyond 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds in a contest. We don't know how he's going to bear up. And I think that his progress through the professional ranks is going to be a fantastic voyage of discovery for both him as a boxer and for us as fans and broadcasters covering his events as well.
Anything can happen in boxing. It's sort of down to him how far he goes, but he's certainly got the tools to do it if he uses them.
His best friend at the minute is the gym. If he does his training and lives right, I can't see why he can't go all the way, really.
He's got all the credentials to be a world champion. He's just got to work really hard to get there, and that's not an easy route for anybody.
There's not one person I can think of right now that can, you know, stop him. He's like an unstoppable train, really, just smashing everything.
There's no doubt that Anthony Joshua will be heavyweight champion of the world.
My ultimate goal is to build a really respected character, have a great aura, and I think all of those things will build me into becoming a great undisputed heavyweight champion.